It's the battle for the Golden Boot as LSU and Arkansas get set to do battle. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the Tigers and the Razorbacks. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, before we get going, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. We are inching ever so close to that 30,000 subscriber mark. We can't do it without your love and support. Also, make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel because, as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. It's one of college football's most underrated rivalries, the battle for the Golden Boot. And over the years, it's had no shortage of dramatics and moments that are memorable. LSU, Arkansas in 2025 has its own unique spin on it. You've got the Bayou Bengals on one side, who are essentially in the midst of a lost season, no head coach, coming off a loss to their other bitter rival, that being Alabama. Meanwhile, Arkansas, same thing. There is no head coach leading the charge. It's Bobby Petrino and the boys, but they've got a dynamic playmaker at quarterback in Taylon Green looking to come in and pull the upset in his career in Fayetteville on a high note. That said, it all leads to what should be a dramatic Saturday down in the Bayou, and we are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the LSU Tigers and the Arkansas Razorbacks. Guys, as always, I'm Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host, colleague, partner in crime, one of the best in the business, Mr. Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, my friend? Appreciate you taking the time. Like I told you pre-show, wacky game here we're going to have down on the Bayou. LSU, Arkansas. We're at the point in the season, I think, Cole, you have to start questioning, where are these teams from a mental standpoint? What is the buy-in like? Do guys have one foot out the door? It's almost kind of like a bowl game, right? Where it's like, which team's more motivated to actually go out there and win this game? But the battle for the Golden Boot, man, it's still a rivalry at the end of the day, and I'm excited to talk about it with you.
I don't have a good gauge on this game at all. Like, I don't, because my brain works in two different ways. Do I look at the better team or do I look at the better quarterback? And the better team is LSU, but not knowing what the status is of Garrett Nussmeier and the Michael Van Buren conversation. Do you go full in with MVB? Taylon Green's a better quarterback. I mean, we can just call a spade in that standpoint. Is this the game where he puts it all together and the drunk 2 a.m. cigarette we're not extinguishing one more night? Or is this the one where I flick it into the river and I say, I'm quitting cold turkey. I can't do this anymore, Taylon Green. We're at that point. You still need a conference win if you're Arkansas. If you're LSU, Chris, I don't know if you don't know this or not, LSU still has yet to clinch a bowl game. So a win on Saturday would clinch their spot, at least in the postseason.
Crazy to think we're saying that. The upcoming Saturday being November the 15th, and LSU has not clinched a bowl game. That said, guys, this game taking place Saturday, November the 15th, 11:45 a.m. Central on SEC Network down at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. LSU Bear is a 5.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 56.5 via our friends over at FanDuel. LSU leads the all-time series 43-23-2 in their last meeting, of course, game last year. Down in Fayetteville, LSU won that game by a final score of 34-10. And you mentioned, Cole, and I want to start there. It's the low-hanging fruit, of course, but the quarterback battle. I think specifically on the LSU side, what does it look like? We saw Michael Van Buren come in relief last week for Garrett Nussmeier, who, you look at the numbers, was efficient, but wasn't necessarily effective.
Yeah.
And with the offensive line and the struggles they've had up front, they couldn't protect the quarterback. Michael Van Buren served as a better fit because of his athleticism. Now, I think he made some mistakes and an experienced quarterback's going to make. He also made some great throws in that game, I thought. So the question now turns for LSU. Do you stick with Michael Van Buren? Do you go back to Garrett Nussmeier? Do you play both? And it sounds like from their coaching staff, they are going to play both. Meanwhile, on the Arkansas side, there ain't no question who's playing quarterback for the Hogs. It is Taylon Green, one of the most dynamic players in the conference. Obviously, again, you mentioned their season has not gone the way they wanted, sitting at 2-7, haven't won a conference game. But the consistent has been Taylon Green's been doing all he could do and then some to give Arkansas a chance each and every single time out. So what LSU does at the quarterback position, I think, is the bigger question mark because we know what Arkansas is going to do under center.
Well, Taylor Green's done everything that he can and then some, and then that some is actually cost the Hogs a game. I mean, they probably should have beaten Auburn, and 3 interceptions cost you a game. You probably should have been able to hold your own against a team like Texas A&M, and you didn't cost yourself a game, but certainly wasn't pretty. I mean, you talk about other matchups throughout the season with Arkansas, the comeback loss against Memphis, the game against Tennessee, the slow start against Mississippi State. I mean, he's cost you games. He's the reason you're in the games, but he's also the reason why potentially you're losing football games. And that's ultimately where you got to go ahead and ask yourself, are you going to ask Taylor Green to do too much? Because like sometimes it's like whenever you load up your plate, I mean, you're at a buffet and you're like, I'm going to eat all this and it'll be great. And like, it's unlimited servings. Then like you get through the crab legs and you get through the mashed potatoes and you get through the gravy and the biscuits. And you're like, I still have like 3/4 of a plate here. I overloaded too much. That's like Taylor Green's brain right now. It's just, we're asking him to do everything and anything under the sun. And we probably need to take a little bit of pressure off of him, trusting our rushing attack a little bit more, trusting our wide receivers to win the one-on-one battles in space. The problem is that this is a really good LSU defense. LSU held Alabama to 20 points on the evening. Blake Baker is one of the elite play callers in the industry, and they still are fully healthy on that side of the ball. They're not built on offense to be able to win football games, but defensively, they're built to keep the opponent out of the end zone and LSU's offense in the game. So is that enough against Taylor Green and what this passing attack has been this year, where he'll throw for 375 yards, he'll also throw 3 interceptions, and it'll cost you? Is that enough for LSU's defense to be able to keep away from really the end zone when it comes to Arkansas's passing attack, and trusting that maybe a quick turnover and you turn it over to Michael Van Buren or Garrett Nussmeier, and they can do just enough to get the way into the end zone?
I look at the other side too, Bears. Can Arkansas get a stop?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at their season and just going through the point totals that they've surrendered in the games they've played. Going in reverse order, 38, 33, 45, 34, 56, 32, 41. And then their first 2 games were Arkansas State and Alabama A&M. They surrendered 14-7. But I mean, they have just no resistance whatsoever on the defensive side. Obviously, when Sam Pittman was let go and Bobby Petrino took over, Bobby Petrino cleaned house on the defensive side. It really has not done much good at all. So here's the thing. You've got uncertainty at quarterback. You've got uncertainty in your run game. That said, you would think this is an opportunity for Cortez Hankton, the LSU offense, to get it going, because Arkansas defensively hasn't exactly been stellar.
Arkansas and Alabama are 2 drastically different defenses. You had to turn to from Garrett Nussmeier to Michael Van Buren because you went up against a top 20 unit. They're top 15 in scoring. They're top 5 in pass defense. And like Nussmeier, as you said, he was able to get the job done. He just wasn't efficient. This is one of the worst defenses in college football. They're giving up 430 yards per contest. They are allowing 18 explosive plays per game. They are missing at the line of scrimmage. The tackle rate is all over the place. The pursuit angles are terrible. This is one of those games where if you're LSU, maybe you feel confident playing Garrett Nussmeier a little bit more than Michael Van Buren because you know he can do just enough to get the job done in this game because they're not going to get a pass rush against you. You still have great wide receivers. I mean, you don't have Nick Anderson anymore, but he really wasn't doing much for you during the regular season to begin with. And you can get the ball out to guys like Trey'Dez Green and Xavier Thomas and Aaron Anderson for this standpoint to be able to let them work in the intermediate part of the field. Now, if you want to go to a Michael Van Buren, it's not the end-all be-all either because, like I said, the tackle rate has been horrendous this year for a team like Arkansas. They whiff more than they meet on the line of scrimmage. So maybe it's a way to where you gain this confidence back. Again, it's a lost season for a team like LSU. They're not going to a playoff. They're not going to a prominent bowl game. They're not going to be ranked in the CFP top 25 when we all envision them to be almost a lock to be in the playoff at this point. But maybe this is like the get-right game. And then you close out your year with Western Kentucky. You close out your year with the game against Oklahoma. Maybe you knock Oklahoma out of the college football playoff conversation. There's a vote of confidence. Sometimes you got to go ahead and take down a 2 to be able to handle a 10. Like that just may be the case, and that's what you got defensively for a team like Arkansas.
I love the analogy, Bear. I love the analogy. Trying to collect my thoughts after that. This feels like a big game for Blake Baker to me. What is his future? I have no idea, but Blake Baker, regarded as one of the best defensive minds in college football. slowing down that Arkansas team, slowing down Taylon Green. I just think this defense putting together a solid performance. I don't know. I feel like the stock of Blake Baker is kind of at an interesting point right now, Cole, if I'm being totally honest. I think they were really good early in the season. They've kind of tailed off since, that starting with that Vandy game, then Texas A&M runs roughshod. They were better last week against Bama, but still, I think there were some things that were concerning. I don't know. In my gut, you agree or disagree. I think this is kind of a big game for Blake Baker and his defense, specifically just the stock of Blake Baker.
It's a big game, but in my humble opinion, Blake Baker is the one person that I'm bringing back on this roster for next season. You have a top 25 defense, you have a top 30 pass defense, you have a top 30 run defense, top 30 scoring defense. He's been able to kind of show you that the faults of last season were no longer a major issue this year. You can say that naturally there's been some issues when it comes to the defensive overall personnel, but you haven't had Whit Weeks. You haven't had a good interior pass rush. You've been missing some elements when it comes to the safety position. So I'm not saying that he needs to have an elite game. What I am saying is that these are the type of games to where you think that maybe a shootout could occur because bad defense on one side and a high-tempo quarterback that knows how to let it fly down the field on the other side. Yeah, you want to walk away unscathed and you want to be the one to puff out your chest and say, we were able to dismantle you. You throw a lot of interceptions. We made you throw 3 more. We want to run some coverages that definitely put you in a position of uncertainty. But I don't think at this point you're worried about Blake Baker as like who he is as a play caller. He's been the reason why LSU has been in every single game. I mean, if you had Matt House running the defense this year, you would have lost to Florida. You would have easily lost to Clemson. You would have lost to multiple teams, and you wouldn't be bowl eligible because you would be 5-7 or 4-8 this year to be one of the worst seasons in program history. So you look at it from that standpoint, Blake Baker, I think, is safe. I think at this moment, what you're trying to figure out is what more can there be to make sure that, hey, maybe he's the head coach somewhere next offseason. Or maybe we like him so much that we're going to make sure that he is the highest paid coordinator in college football because we cannot afford to lose him and watch as all these players that he brought in end up leaving in the transfer portal. So maybe that's the standpoint. But it's a big game because of the defense has been the calling card this year for LSU. Can it be the calling card against one of the more explosive quarterbacks in the SEC?
Bear, I have to mention this. I think we have to talk about it because I think it is one of the storylines of this game. And like I led off the show with, I just I wonder what the excitement level, what the motivation level is of these two teams. I really do. And I think I would probably venture to say Arkansas is probably a little more fired up for this game. I have this feeling that I think Arkansas is going to come out a little bit more juice for this one. I could be totally wrong. When LSU, for everything great they are, we love the fan base, we love the program. Like when they check out, man. Like when they're done, they're done. And there's so much stuff swirling around, going around LSU with Brian Kelly's buyout, with what the latest thing Jeff Landry had to say, with who's going to be the next head coach. I just wonder what I wonder what like the motivation is in this one. Like, has this team quit? Has Arkansas quit? Fair enough. Like, which of these two sides is more motivated to go win this football game? Like, I think that actually matters in a game like this. I don't think it's as simple as, no, both are going to show up, play hard, be the best version themselves. I don't know how confident I am in saying that because, again, both their seasons are completely lost for different reasons. I'll be very curious to see what the intensity levels are of each. Do they match each other, or is there one team that's obviously much more excited to be there than the other?
I mean, look, LSU probably will be bowl eligible because they play Western Kentucky and they're at 5-4. So even if they were to lose their next 2 games in SEC play, they still would be 6-6. But do you want to be known as the team that had all the hype around you, all of the stratospheres of us talking like you could win a national title, all of us believing that what you did in the offseason with spending money in the transfer portal and bringing in all these recruits, that's your legacy? The 6-6 season is what we're going to remember you by? Garrett Nussmeier saying we came back to win a national title, and instead you go to the Boca Raton Bowl. Like, is that really what we want to remember LSU by? So I think there's a pride standpoint in that, making sure that you're not the reason that Arkansas gets a win in conference play this year. But on the flip side, for Arkansas, you have a beaten and broken Bengals roster down in the Bayou. You're not going to be able to take down Texas if they win this weekend because if they're going to have the buy-in to guarantee their spot in the college football playoff. And Missouri's a rivalry game, whether you want to admit it or not. So this may be your best chance to get a win in conference play this year. And that's something to be said because you're the only team that doesn't have one at this point. It's just you. And you had opportunities. You had an opportunity against Tennessee. You shot yourself in the foot. You had an opportunity against Mississippi State. You literally shot yourself in the foot. You had an opportunity against Auburn. You could have been the reason why Hugh Freeze was fired. Nope. You decided to go ahead and crap the bed and let Ashton Daniels be the reason why you got a loss in conference play. So wouldn't it mean something with a quarterback like Taylor Green that we all talk about in such a prominent light, an offensive guru and Bobby Petrino that we want to see at least end his tenure somewhat on a high note in coaching? Wouldn't this be like a moment where you want to wake on up and do it for them? Because sure as hell don't do it for yourself. You've wasted a season this year, in my opinion, with how bad you've looked at times. But do it for the people who haven't been the reason why your team has struggled. Do it for the people who come out and watch you every single Saturday, and even though they leave by halftime, they still believe that there is hope. And do it for the next head coach that comes on in and believe we still know that when we're at the end of the line, we're laying it all out there. So I think that both have something to fight for. But I'm not a guy that's on the field. I'm not a guy going through the practice. The only ones that understand what they can expect are those who are going through this every single day. And if you don't have the buy-in, you simply don't have the buy-in. And that might be something that you're going to have to look at internally of, do I really want this or not? And maybe neither one of them want this. Maybe this is one of those games where it's like, I really don't care. Do you care enough? No, I don't care. Okay, well, I don't care. Do you care? Here, I'll throw the interception. You could score. I'm going to go fumble it at the 1 yard line. You could scoop it up. No, well, I'm going to fumble it at the other 1 yard line. And it'll just be like, Tecmo Bowl, Bo Jackson trying to run down the clock. Like that could be what we're seeing in this matchup.
Bear, it's going to be interesting. Again, the battle for the Golden Boot, like I started the show off with, it's had some very memorable moments over the years. It feels like this Saturday is only going to deliver more of those. That being said, let's lock in some picks. Let's lock in some predictions. You want the honors or you want me to start?
I'll start. I don't have a good gauge on this matchup. I really don't. Like, you could tell me that Taylor Green throws for 285 yards and 4 touchdowns, but he throws a pick 6 and that be the deciding factor. You could tell me that Garrett Nussmeier has the game of his life and we see the version that was supposed to be in New York City for the Heisman Trophy, and I could believe it. I think that at the end of the day, what this comes down to, who do I trust more when it comes to having to make a critical stop? I know that Taylor Green's a talented player. I know that Taylor Green is that drunk 2 a.m. cigarette. And I know that he is somebody that I can't quit. It's in there. But I've also seen him at multiple instances this year, me giving him praise, and then him going and finding a way to mess it on up. And it's just like a slap in the face. And LSU's defense at least has yet to do that. In every single game outside of the matchup against Texas A&M, they have made sure that they've given the offense a chance. They just have. And I think that speaks volume about how good of a play caller Blake Baker is, how much he's worked to the city of Baton Rouge, what he means to the community of LSU, and why he needs to be the only phone call made by the next head coach of the Tigers to say, you're running the showdown here. I am not watching you go to another SEC school or go to another program, and I got to face off against you in the playoffs. Hell no, I'm not doing that. I trust this defense. That's really what this comes down to. If it was anything else, I would say, you know what? By all means, give me Arkansas. This feels like the easy standpoint for them to get the job done. But LSU's defense has been so poised in critical moments this year that I don't think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot at home. It's an early kick. You still know the Couillons are going to be out there. I go LSU. I don't feel confident in it. I'm going to go 28-20 final score. I think that you will see Taylor Green get a few deep shots down the field. But I think that you see just enough of Michael Van Buren and Garrett Nussmeier that there's an offensive spark in the fourth quarter that pulls it away. Give me LSU's defense to be the reason why they get a win, and they're bowl eligible.
Cole, I don't feel good about this game either way either, but here's where I land on it. Fun fact, LSU this season has not scored more than 25 points against a Power 4 team all year. And now you're trying to convince me, as bad as Arkansas is on defense, and they're bad, but they're going to score more than 25 when they don't even know who their quarterback is. Is it Michael Van Buren? Is it Garrett Nussmeier? That alone, also mixed in with the fact that I honestly do question LSU's buy-in at this point. I question their willingness to show up and play their best game, play 4 quarters. And where is Arkansas with that too? I think it's valid to question that for both sides. But I don't trust LSU offensively to go out and put up the points they need to go beat Taylen Green. You're going to have to score more than 25, in my opinion, because I think Arkansas is going to get theirs. I do. And I like Blake Baker, and I like some of the pieces on the defensive side. Can Arkansas block a Harold Perkins? That's a great question, I think. What is the status of a Whit Weeks in this game? Is he back? We'll see. But I'm going to call my shot, Barry. I'm going to go Arkansas to win this football game. I just, again, you haven't scored more than 25 points all season against a Power 4 opponent. And now you're going to do it with a 2-quarterback system because you don't know who the best option is? And because your offensive line can't protect who's ever back there? Give me Taylen Green to have one of those moments. Arkansas is not going defeated in SEC play this season. Early game, sleepy game in Baton Rouge. I question whether the Couillons are going to show up and show out. The tickets right now are less than $10 to get in the building. Less than $10. So LSU fans, prove me wrong. I'm doing something I said I wouldn't do after the Memphis game or after earlier in the season when I called my shot against Notre Dame, I might add, and that's pick the Arkansas Razorbacks to pull an upset. But you know what? Time heals all wounds, Hogs. Time heals all wounds. Give me Arkansas 33, LSU 23. I think Arkansas walks into Death Valley, gets the win. Early game, not even remotely the same atmosphere. And I think LSU is just worried about far other things beyond winning this football game. I think they've got so much other things on their mind between the BK buyout, between the coaching search. I'm sure many guys on this team have one foot out the door in regards to looking for their next destination. I mean, again, you got 2 quarterbacks playing in this game. I'm going to trust Taylen Green here. They're going to go out. Bobby Petrino and company, I think, will have a great game plan against Blake Baker. 33-23 Hogs go in, pull off the upset, and finally get a SEC win.
That drunk 2 a.m. cigarette is going to feel nice and mighty for you, Chris Phillips. I can tell you that much. Taylen Green.
I mean, go out and score more than 25 points against a Power 4 opponent. I think Arkansas will score more than 25 points. I do. I do. I think they will. So
look, 24-20. Even if that's the final score, that could get the job done if you're LSU.
Yeah. We'll see. It's going to be a wacky game. Battle for the Golden Boot. 2 teams with lost seasons. That equates to who the hell knows what's going to happen. Anyways, I'm going Arkansas. Bears going LSU. We'd love to hear from you. Who do you agree with? Who do you disagree with? Love to hear your thoughts. Is it LSU or is it Arkansas Saturday at Death Valley? Guys, it's going to do all for us. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Guys, it's NBA tip-off week. FanDuel is your home for live betting, so even if you missed the start of a game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel's got live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join, because FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Guys, once again, that's going to do all for us. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We're signing off. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you all on the other side.